Hi, let's talk about setting up your cell phone microscope. First thing to do is connect it to your cell phone. You'll have one of these. There's a little hole on one side of this clip. What you want to do is line up the hole with your camera on your phone. Mine happens to be right in the center. On a lot of phones, they're kind of off to the side, so just check your phone. And so that's my camera. You can't see it, but it's right lined up in the center of this circle. And then I take this part, it's got a little attachment. It's going to fit right on the top of my microscope right there. You could use this with your eye, but I think the cell phone's a little bit easier. You can get a little bit of a better picture, and you can record and take photos. It clicks on just like that, and you're all set up. One thing to check when you open up your camera app, if the screen is black, you want to make sure this is definitely centered. Right now you can kind of, hi, you can see me through the circle. So I know that it's lined up, I can see a circle. Then I can put it on top of the microscope. And then you should still see a circle, and that's what the microscope is seeing. First thing to do is turn on the LED, that's a button right over here. And it turns on down here. If the LED doesn't turn on when you push the button, check your battery. There should have been a AA battery, I think, in the box with the microscope. And it goes right in the back, this back pocket right here. So once that light's on, you can pretty much set it down on any surface. Right now I am taking a picture or a video of my mouse pad, and I'm going to focus it really quick so I get a nice sharp image. And so the way that I'm focusing is I'm using this wheel right here. I'm turning it back and forth until that image gets nice and focused. I'll show you another one. This is the top of the table made of wood. So that's some wood grain there. So that's how to just use the microscope to see tops, tables, top of your keyboard, any sort of fabrics. It works pretty well. To see organisms, what you want to do is take this little clear plastic piece and flip it around so that it ends up down here. This is great for putting microscope slides in. It'll sit right there. And what I like to do is set it down on top of a glass. And I'll show you a picture of what that looks like. And so that just helps the cell phone stabilize, because I kind of have a giant cell phone. And so then I don't have to hold the cell phone up. I can leave that alone, and I can use my one hand to focus, the other hand to move the microscope slide, and I've got a little bit of an easier setup. So you'll probably want something right under here to hold the cell phone up when you start using microscope slides. Okay, let's talk about using microscope slides. So this is a pretty easy to use microscope slide. It's already got the cover slip on top. It's just one piece. And what you do is you put a droplet of water on one side and it pulls it across. And I'll show you a video of that in a second. The first thing that I recommend you look at is you should have a tube of this. This is yeast. It looks like sand, but it's just dry baker's yeast. Take a pinch. This is way too much. Just take a pinch and put it in a little container with a couple drops of water. And shake it up so that the water becomes nice and cloudy. each one of these little dots is thousands and thousands of yeast. So you want to make sure to break all of those up and get a nice consistent solution. Once that's all nice and mixed up, you have a nice milky, cloudy solution, get a drop and place it right on top of your microscope slide, and you'll put a drop on one of the circles and it'll pull the liquid right across. So once it's all the way across the microscope, or once it's all the way across the microscope slide, just go ahead and put that in here and you're ready to view it. Now, the reason I wanted you to start with yeast is I can show you a video of me focusing on the yeast, and your slide should look the same. So you'll know you're focused if you get an image that looks like mine. Now, if you just leave it focused the way it is, don't touch it, take the slide out, go outside and find one or two more samples of liquid, your microscope is ready to go. You don't need to focus it. You just get some liquid here, put it on the slide, you're ready to view. I'm going to put a list of places that you can go to find organisms around San Francisco, Stowe Lake, really any body of water, the bay, the ocean, any lake, right up where the water meets the land is going to have the most organisms. That should give you something. You should definitely see something in that sample that you take. You don't need a lot, maybe about that much. You're only using a drop at a time, so don't worry about filling this whole thing up. If you don't want to go that far, if you don't want to go all the way to Golden Gate Park or the bay, find any puddle of water in your area. When I tried this, I just went across the street. There was a puddle of water. Somebody had like watered the flowers, and I took a couple of drops. I put it on my microscope slide. I saw nothing. There was nothing there. But then I added a grain of rice to my sample and I let it sit overnight. The next day, there was lots of cool stuff. So what you're doing, if you put a grain of rice in there, you are feeding all the organisms. They're having a great time, they're having babies. More and more organisms means you're gonna have a higher chance of picking up something and getting it into your slide in that one drop of water. Couple of extra things. After you have seen the yeast, you want to take a paper towel to remove the yeast out of this microscope slide. Just dab it on one side. I'll show you a video. And the water will just slowly get pulled out of this slide. You will still have leftover yeast inside, unless you want to be really thorough and wash it, maybe with some alcohol. But I don't recommend you do that because you will know that you're focused right if you can see those little yeast cells. So if you can see yeast cells, you're in the right spot. And then you just kind of need to move the slide around. And what you're looking for in your San Francisco samples is something moving, something swimming fast, something wiggling. That's what you're looking for. Kind of like what we saw in Tom Zimmerman's video. I hope you find something. If you see something, take a video, take a picture. When I did this, as soon as I got the slide in, I hit record because these things are fast and they go really quick. And if you wait until you see something to hit record, you're gonna miss it. So get the slide in, push record immediately. If you ever get to a point where you can't see anything or it starts to show a shadow, you're probably gonna need to fix this circle up and align it up a little bit. If you're noticing that every time you touch the cell phone to focus, it looks like the slide is moving back and forth. I don't know why it does that. I don't know. I think it's really sensitive. It's a really sensitive microscope, so just little touches is going to move things back and forth. Try your best. We will be on Zoom. All the instructors will stay on Zoom. So if you want to stay on Zoom in case you have any questions or if you want to come back into the Zoom to ask us questions, get some help if it's not working for you, please do. We're happy to answer any questions. Good luck finding samples. Good hunting.